So here's what I'm supposed to do, according to ChatGPT. Well, thanks ChatGPT for getting me pooed out by demons. This is a total failure for ChatGPT. Ooh, that is sour. Hello from Osaka, Japan. I am waiting for my train here. I'm going to Nara, Japan. I'm going to spend 3 days in Nara. And I made my travel itinerary for this whole 3 days with ChatGPT. In case you don't know, ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence text system. You enter a prompt and it gives a cheerful and natural sounding reply. One of its drawbacks is that sometimes its replies contain information that sounds perfectly plausible but is inaccurate. So I prompted ChatGPT to give me an itinerary for 3 days in Nara for someone who wants to only use trains and buses, no car, wants to keep the cost down, wants to see a mix of popular and lesser known things. So this is the itinerary it gave me. I'm going to follow this, if possible, the best I can. It's given me estimated costs, which seem a little hopeful. 18,000 yen as a total cost for the entire 3 days, which is about $140 or something. I think that's very, very not possible for Japan. The first thing is to arrive in Nara at 10 a.m. All right, we got here, Nara Station. It's just after 10 a.m. and the first thing on the ChatGPT schedule is Todaiji Temple, a huge temple, one of the main draws of Nara. Todaiji was built in the 8th century when Nara was the capital of Japan. When Emperor Shomu's 1-year-old son died, the temple was commissioned to bring peace to the boy's troubled spirit. Incidentally, 4 brothers in the rival Fujiwara family spread a rumor that a politician called Nagaya had cursed the child. And because this rumor was going around, Nagaya did the only decent thing and killed himself. Because, you know, different times. Those 4 brothers would get what was coming to them, though, as we'll soon see. Todaiji opened in the year 752. Todaiji means the Great Eastern Temple. There's also a Saidaiji, which is the Great Western Temple. I'd like to show you Saidaiji, but ChatGPT didn't tell me to go there, so maybe some other time. This is the South Gate. It's called Nandaimon, which means the Great South Gate, and the original was destroyed by a typhoon, and this one actually dates from the 1100s. Monumental and impressive. And this is just the gate. This is not the temple. First of all, in the gate, this big south gate, there are these 2 guards. One has an open mouth, one has a closed mouth, which is kind of a Buddhist thing. And when you step through the gate, you're supposed to step over the center beam. You're not supposed to step on it. I've seen some tourists violating that, but mostly people are sticking to it. ChatGPT says that it's going to cost me 600 yen to get inside, so we'll see. And here it is, the 1709 reconstruction of the Great Buddha Hall at Todaiji. This is actually 1/3 smaller than the original, but still, until 1998, this was the largest wooden building in the world. The 4 Fujiwara brothers had had a hand in the ritual suicide of the politician, but all 4 of them, along with 1/3 of the entire population of Japan, died from smallpox 10 years later. In response to the epidemic, the emperor commissioned a gigantic bronze Buddha statue, a Daibutsu. It's about 52 feet high. It's pretty much the thing to see, the one object to see if you come to Nara. You ever get the feeling somebody's watching you? I've actually been here to Todaiji maybe 4 or 5 times, but the last time was probably 12, 14 years ago. And in those days, whenever you came here, there was one of the pillars that had a little hole in it. You could crawl through the hole. It was a real tight squeeze, but I could just do it. Now, here's the pillar, but it's closed. So if I can find an old picture of me doing that from years ago, I'll drop it in now. 手の大きさは大仏の手大きさ一緒？同じですか？はい。Outside Todaiji, they've got these models of the Daibutsu's hands. Apparently, they're the same exact size. So the right hand takes your fear, the left hand grants your wish. I've noticed that most of the informational signs around here, the ones that are in English, are usually something along these lines, telling you what you can and can't do, usually what you can't do. So, here you go. The famous and scenic do not touch because it is dangerous. Okay, it's lunchtime. All ChatGPT told me is get lunch in Nara Park. すみません、10円落ちた。私のじゃない。どうぞ。Got some tea noodles, green tea noodles with some kitsune, kind of fried tofu. Got a couple of things of rice with sushi and free water. And it's like 12 o'clock and there's all these tourists outside and nobody's in here. There's only a couple of people here, a couple tables. Many years ago, there was a god called Takemi Kazuchi, and he was the god of thunder and the god of swords. And he was asked to come to Nara to help protect Nara, the new capital. So he did. He arrived on a mountain called Wakakusa on a great white deer. And ever since then, deer have been sacred here in Nara and in Nara Park. And here's one now. Nara Park is famous for being a place where you can walk around and talk to the deer, meet the deer, feed the deer. ChatGPT has told me to spend a couple hours here wandering the park and seeing the deer. So that's what I'm going to do. It also says that it's going to be free to wander the park and feed the deer. The park is free. Feeding the deer is not free because I didn't bring my own deer food. So you have to pay 200 yen, which is about, I don't know, $1.50, to buy shika senbei, which is little deer crackers. So I'll go do that. I'll go find some shika senbei. There are vendors everywhere. And we'll feed the deer and take many, many amazing photos and videos because everything they do is extremely photogenic and cute and interesting. Now, they might seem cute and friendly, but look, the deer of Nara Park are wild animals. They can occasionally attack people, so please be careful. And you got the big four: bite, kick, butt, knock down. Well, I thought that would be a wonderful little interaction, but she was on her phone. Okay, we've got some shika senbeis. I'm going to go away from the deer that are near the vendor because they look fat enough. And interestingly, it was recently found that the deer here in the park are indeed genetically distinct. So there is such a thing as a Nara Park deer or a Nara deer. There you go, there you go. All right. You want one? Okay, now I've gotten popular. Want a shika senbei? You're welcome. So here's something sort of stupid. 2 days ago, I bought brand new shoes, and that's what I'm wearing on this trip. Maybe this is not the best place to go with brand new shoes. I think I've found a little side place kind of off the main part of the park, down a couple streets. Some kind of pavilion over here. People rowing boats and stuff. Let's go see what this is about. Someone's taking wedding photos here. The official photographer is here, but all of these people and me doing our own private photos. The boats are 1,000 yen for half an hour. Now, ChatGPT did not tell me to do that, but what it did say was explore Nara Park, and I think that counts. 船でもいいですか？
あ、ボートね。
ボート。
はい、1000円いただきます。
はい。はい、すみません。はい、こっちね。ありがとう。All right, well, thank you, ChatGPT. This is a good idea. I didn't know how I was going to waste 2 hours in Nara Park, but led me here. Special thanks to Dave for teaching me how to do stuff like this. Hi, arigato. Whew, that was kind of a workout. What a day. Okay, the next thing on my ChatGPT itinerary is Kasuga-taisha, which is like Kasuga Great Shrine. It's a Shinto shrine, and it was made soon after Todaiji by the Fujiwara family. The Kasuga-taisha Shrine honors 4 gods, one of them being Takemi Kazuchi, who was the god who rode it on the deer to make all these deer sacred. So Kasuga-taisha is known for its many, many bronze and stone lanterns. All right, well, they weren't kidding. Lots and lots of lanterns. I'm a little bit confused about exactly what building is what, but I believe this is the entrance to actual Kasuga-taisha Shrine. ChatGPT tells me this is going to cost me 500 yen. So you can write your prayer on a little piece of paper and tie it to this thing called omikuji, or you can write it on a board and put it here. Of course, in Nara, they are deer-shaped. Okay, the special place. Only people who paid 500 yen get to see this. So you sort of just walk around this little route beside all the hanging lanterns, and this is the worship area number 1. I think I can do that. You know what I was praying for? I hope this shot works out, and I hope my phone doesn't fall. Wow, that was a highlight. Well, that's pretty much it for the sightseeing today. ChatGPT has told me where to stay tonight. Guest House Naramachi. That place does exist, but there's no vacancies for tonight. And I looked around. When they do have vacancies, it's 5,000 to 10,000 yen, depending on the day of the week. But I did find another place nearby called Dormitory Omitsu, and it's 2,985 yen. Okay, found it. Here it is. Bunk beds here. One room here. And my room's here. Pretty cozy. I thought I got a private room. I think this is technically considered a private room because it closes here. Whatever. 3,000 yen is pretty cheap for Japan, so dinner time. Across the street here is a place called Nakatani-do, and that's what ChatGPT told me to do for dinner. Go there and eat dinner. They said they have udon and stuff, and they do not. This is a sweet shop. They sell little sweets with mochi, which is like pounded rice with little sweet beans in the middle. It has nothing to do with dinner. There's no dinner. They close at 7 p.m. I took ChatGPT to task about this. I said, no, that doesn't exist. They don't have dinner. Try again. And it gave me a place called Aji no Karyu. I looked it up and it doesn't exist at all. Like there's one in Sapporo, which is way in the north part of Japan. So I gave up on ChatGPT. This is a total failure for ChatGPT. I'm just gonna have to go and find something. All right, found a curry place. 4 kinds of curry. Can you see that? 4 kinds of curry with some rice and papadum and stuff. Got a 500 milliliter Asahi Super Dry. Perfect, perfect, perfect. It's not the 800 yen that ChatGPT said was going to be the price for like Nakatani-do, but this is a real meal and it's, I don't know, 2,000 yen. Perfect after walking around Nara all day. All right, great first day here. I found the place here, bus stop number 8. That's what I'm going to take tomorrow morning. This bus, which goes out to outside of Nara City. So-so job today from ChatGPT. The actual sights were great. The hotel and dinner didn't really work out. All right, good morning. It's day 2. Found a Starbucks near my guest house. Now, ChatGPT says I should eat breakfast at my guest house and it cost 500 yen. Well, the guest house was not even the same guest house as it recommended, and there's no breakfast at the one I stayed at, so I came here. The thing is, I happen to have these in my bag. Some gift cards and stuff from Starbucks that somebody gave me a long time ago, a couple years ago, and I was able to use those. So I'm counting this breakfast as free. Okay, I got about 10 minutes till my bus leaves for Horyuji. Now, taking a bus from Nara here over to the town where Horyuji is maybe not the most sensible thing. It's pretty good. The bus goes right to the temple, and the train goes a little bit away from it. But there's frequent trains. There's only like one bus. It's about 10 minutes from now. There's a bus, and the next one's like an hour and a half after that. So ChatGPT told me to take the bus. I think a train would make more sense because I wouldn't have to get up early and force all this. I have this thing for bus travel. It's just a different way to see the countryside. More human, more surface area, you know? So I like seeing these rural parts too. This is way out in the Yamato Plain. I made it to Horyuji bus stop. It was 770 yen, not 500. But now it's a short walk to the great temple itself. The world's oldest wooden building, kind of. I'll explain a little bit more when we get there. Depends on how you define it. Horyuji was started in the early 600s by an emperor who was hoping it would cure his illness. It didn't, and he died. But his son, Prince Shotoku, continued work on the temple. Prince Shotoku is legendary in Japan. He was the one who first called Japan the land of the rising sun. Horyuji is usually advertised as featuring the world's oldest wooden buildings, but as we'll see, that comes with some qualifiers. The main part of Horyuji is all about 2 structures, the main hall and the 5-tiered pagoda. These are the ones called the world's oldest wooden structures. Anyway, let's go inside. I think we can go a little bit inside the Great Hall and look around at the statues. Okay, well I just walked through the Great Hall. No photos are allowed, so I can't show you the things I wanted to show you, the statues that are inside basically. As for the pagoda, this is the oldest 5-storied pagoda in Japan from also the 7th century. Let's see if we can see the statues anyway. Oh, it says no photos. No photos again. So, are these the world's oldest wooden buildings? Well, about these being the oldest wooden buildings, that kind of makes it sound like they've been sitting here undisturbed for 1400 years, which is not exactly the case. The other buildings around here are rebuilt because they were all destroyed by various lightning strikes and fires and stuff. Now the Great Hall here has seen some rough stuff in its life. It's a Buddhist temple, of course, and in 1868, during the Meiji Restoration, when Japan opened up to the modern world, Shintoism was declared the state religion of Japan, so there were no funds for things like this. So those were the lean years for about 40 years until finally the government said, okay, we'll help upkeep the Buddhist places. Then, in World War II, to prevent it from being destroyed from American bombing, it was disassembled and carted off to the mountains near here and kind of hidden. Although the Americans had a policy at the time not to bomb cultural places like this. Anyway, after the war, it was brought back and reassembled. But in 1949, there was a fire here. Big fire here, destroyed quite a bit of this, and it's estimated now that like of this wood here, 15 to 20% is actually the original. And that's not something that the travel industry websites will tell you about. It's still cool, it's still impressive, and it's great to look at some of this wood here and just think, this wood might be well-chosen, well-crafted wood from the 7th century. Well, no photos are allowed anywhere, but at least I can sketch stuff, at least have a memory of it. No photographing and no sketching. Damn. All right, listen to this. This octagonal building is the oldest of its kind in Japan. Inside is a special statue of a Buddha. Some say it might be actually Prince Shotoku himself as a Buddha. This statue is one of Japan's greatest treasures. It was carved from a single piece of wood and then overlaid with gold. It's rarely shown to the public. It's only shown for 1 month in the spring, 1 month in the fall, and it just started today. I had no idea. We actually see it today. Now, photos are not allowed, so you can't see it, but I'll see what I can do. All right, Horyuji was great. Saw some great stuff. Got a real look at the Asuka period, which came just before the Nara period in Japan. Now, next, remember Asuka, by the way, that's coming up later again on the trip. Next, ChatGPT says, lunch at Horyuji Temple, 1,000 yen. So that's not actually possible. There's no place to eat lunch in the temple, so I'm gonna have to go find lunch somewhere right outside the temple. I see a place that has soba noodles, and I'm always in the mood for soba, so I'll probably eat there, and nobody seems to be there. All right, this is great. I got plum soba, some cold soba noodles with a big plum in it. It's got rice, got some beans, pickled vegetables. You dip the noodles in the sauce and you eat it. Okay, Big Horyuji is done, and it was great. Lunch was great. It was 1,380 yen. Now, ChatGPT says, 1 o'clock, take a train to Yamato Koriyama Station. There is no such station. There's a Koriyama station in Yamato Koriyama, which sounds like a small point, but in Japan, that like if you type in Yamato Koriyama Station into a train route finder, they won't know what you're talking about. It's supposed to cost 500 yen. Well, I was kind of making fun of ChatGPT for sending me by bus to Horyuji from Nara when there's a perfectly good train. But I will say this, the train station is kind of far away. It's a couple kilometers. So bus is probably the best option this morning. Thank you, ChatGPT. All right, here we are, Koriyama. The whole point of being here is, thankfully, something a little bit different than we've been doing. So yesterday and this morning was all temples and shrines from long ago. Today is also some old things, but it's a castle. And it's actually just castle ruins. Okay, we're here, Koriyama Station. Gotta walk all the way over here to Koriyama Castle. You know what I wished for? That I could find an information sign around here to explain what some of this stuff is. Let's go see if we can find out a little bit more what's going on. And somewhere on these grounds, there is a very strange and mysterious statue that may have cursed this whole place. See if we can find that. Well, I tried to translate the Japanese sign, and I'm slightly less none the wiser, but I'm still kind of none the wiser. The important thing right now is that this thing can be climbed, and that's what everybody seems to be doing. I believe this is part of the main tower. This is kind of cool. So, right here is Wakakusayama, which is where the god arrived to Nara on his white deer. And right here is Todaiji, if you can kind of see it out there. When Koriyama Castle was built in the 1580s, stones were taken from many unusual sources, including gravestones and small Buddhist statues called jizos. Infamously, one jizo was stuck in upside down, which some say cursed the castle to collapse. Now it's a tourist highlight. I think if I put my camera in the little hole here, the little nook, I believe I can see the upside down jizo. Let's see if we can see it. So now, next time someone asks you, hey, have you ever seen the Sakasa Jizo, the upside down Jizo? You can say, why, yes, I have. And I suppose it would be proper right here to say another thank you to ChatGPT for, if it had not suggested this park and this castle ruins place, I would never have seen that or never would even known about it. So, the upside down Jizo, thank you, ChatGPT. Well, the good news continues. So, turns out I don't have to go all the way back to the JR train station. There's a different train line which has a station here in Koriyama, and it's pretty close. The other thing is that I have a lot of extra time. So I'm gonna go try to find a cafe and have me a little snack and some coffee. Okay, I think I may have found a place. It's called Pocket. See if it's actually open and see if they indeed have my coffee and bread. This is pretty obscure. I got the set. Kinako is a kind of sweet powder made from some kind of sweet beans or something, maybe. I love it. It's a little bit bigger than I was expecting, but it comes with coffee, so. Ooh, light and fluffy. This is a real, like, old school Japanese style cafe. Fried shrimp lunches and stuff if you want them. They got sandwiches, they got simple cakes and bread sets like this. Like the furniture's kind of worn, but it's nice. It's old school. They even let you smoke here. Apparently there's ashtrays on the tables. Okay, from here at Kintetsu Koriyama Station, we're going to take a series of 2 trains to a town called Sakurai. And there, ChatGPT has told me where to stay, the name of the guest house, and where to eat, the name of this restaurant. Neither of those exist. Okay, we're going to talk about Sakurai. This is ChatGPT's lowest moment of the whole trip. 5 p.m., check in at Guest House Sakurai, 2,000 yen a night. Well, there is no Guest House Sakurai here. It does not seem like there ever was anywhere called Guest House Sakurai here in this town. I can't find any information online about anything ever having been called that. So I found an alternative place called Pension Sun Cherry, and it's like 6,000 yen or something. Seems pretty cool though. But the bigger problem is there's really no reason to be here at all. So we were just in Koriyama. Tomorrow, first thing in the morning, we're going to a different place called Asuka. I could have stayed in a hotel in Koriyama, or I could have gone to Asuka tonight and stayed there because I'm going to be there anyway. There are things to see around here. It's just that I can't see them. For one thing, I'm worn out from today and I don't want to see anything else. And for another thing, ChatGPT didn't tell me to. The place it recommended for dinner, which is Yoroshiku, which is an izakaya, that does not seem to have ever existed here. So I'm on my own for dinner. So let's go see if they'll let me check in. I'm a little bit early, but let's find Pension Sun Cherry. Well, there's no reason to be here in Sakurai for this trip, but this place is great. It's like an old building with all these weird decorations and a little common area with like couches covered in like interesting exotic cloths and stuff like that. It's real homey. This is just a straight up regular kind of business hotel room type place. The classic everything you need. I got a window, sort of a view. Got a desk here. Got my own bathroom and shower. I thought, as long as ChatGPT has sent me here to Sakurai, I might as well see the place. So I walked around town a little bit for about half an hour just now. It's nice, it's quiet. However, I just went to 7-Eleven for dinner. So here's what we got for dinner. Strawberry yogurt, into which I will place some mixed nuts, spicy fried chicken, some shrimp pilaf. Where is it? Shrimp pilaf. Maybe I'm supposed to microwave this. Oh, I am supposed to microwave it. I wonder if there's a microwave here. Some matcha cake, jar of sake, actual sake from a convenience store for like $2. Something about privacy. I'm in a town I don't really need to be in because ChatGPT told me to come here, watching a TV show about ChatGPT. They're talking about planning travel itineraries with ChatGPT. Life imitates life or something. Good morning, it's day 3. ChatGPT says to have breakfast in the guest house, and that is what's happening today. Arigatou gozaimasu. Yamato gokoro. Yamato gokoro.
これうちの作ったクッキーなの。
コーヒーと合いますか？
あります。美味しいよ。
Okay, well, breakfast was great. The lady made the bread and stuff herself. She showed me a cookbook that she wrote that has a picture of the guest house on the back, explaining that the bread is half made of rice and apple and carrot and potato and stuff. So we're in Sakurai, and we're going to a place called Asuka. Got a long wait here, about 20 minutes on this platform, but no problem. It's me and a bunch of my new friends here. Okay, on my way to a place called Asuka. ChatGPT says, take a train to Asuka and rent a bicycle and bike around Asuka village. Sounds great. I hope there really is a place to rent bicycles around there, and I hope it does not rain. Okay, here at Asuka Station, and I needn't have worried. Right ahead, rent a cycle.
電動自転車。
普通自転車。Okay, we got our bicycle. And now, to explore Asuka, the chopping board of Japanese demon and the toilet of Japanese demon. 870 meters that way. How can I say no to that? Let's go. I think I found the devil's toilet. So let's see what this is. Hopefully there's an English explanation. There is. Okay, so what would happen was the demons who lived in the hills around here, they would confuse travelers by making mist descend. And then they would jump out and kill the travelers. They would cook them and cut them up on their big their big cutting board, which is near here somewhere. And then after eating the travelers, they would relieve themselves here. That's the story. If you're a traveler in this area, wait, that's me. Demons are gonna, well, thanks ChatGPT for getting me pooed out by demons on a stone. Okay, here it is, Devil's Cutting Board. And there it is, as advertised. So this is where the demons would take their foggy, confused travelers and cut them up to eat them, and then go poo over there. Well, I never. And next is the world famous Turtle Rock. And here it is, the Turtle Stone, or the Tortoise Rock, or the Tortoise Stone, or the Turtle Rock. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure anybody knows why. The little etchings on a little dark plaque with the raindrops hitting it means my Translate app can't understand it. So I'm not sure what the deal is with the Turtle Rock. But right next to it is this little shack thing here. There's no people here, but all of this local produce is 100 yen for one chunk or one bag. And it's like the honor system. You put your 100 yen in here and you take what you want. So of course I want to get something. All the good stuff's gone, quite frankly. The strawberries are gone. Kind of like tangerines, maybe. Possibly one of those. I don't need 3 of them today. I don't really want to carry them around. Over here, you got your shriveled mushrooms. I don't know what you're supposed to do with those. Some gigantic potatoes looking thing. A lot of the citrus here looks like it's not good anymore. It's got fuzz all over it. That might be all right. All right, I'll try this. 100 yen. Let's see which one would be best. That one looks pretty ratty. I might not have that one. Okay, let's try this one. To the Turtle Rock. What do you think? Oh, that is sour. Not bad though. Sour's all right. Not as sour as that plum that umeboshi had yesterday for lunch. ChatGPT told me to have lunch in Asuka village. It didn't specify where, so it's all open to me. This isn't lunch, this is a taster for lunch. The other one. No, let's wait on that one. I'll have that one later. So I'm going to throw this one away because it just doesn't look good. I'll keep this one. And we'll continue on our way to the next thing. And I don't know what it is. It's actually raining now. Maybe I should stay here. Okay, next up ahead, the Two-Faced Rock. On the map I got from the bike place, I saw this two-faced rock, and I was determined to find it. Lift you up. Do I go left or right here? I'm going to go this way. Further into the obscure. So the reason that Asuka used to be so important in Japan is that it used to be the capital of Japan before Nara, so the 7th century. In those days, the name of the country was Wa, and that was a name given to Japan by China. And the kanji that they used for Wa means dwarf or submissive. So Japan did not like that, so they changed it. They kept the pronunciation Wa, but they used a different kanji, and the new kanji means harmonious or peaceful. In the Asuka period, that's when Prince Shotoku first came up with the phrase Land of the Rising Sun. So that became the official name of Japan. In the Asuka period, they changed from Wa to Nippon. Also, in the Asuka period, that's when Buddhism came to Japan. Also, that's when the first Japanese coins were made. I have a suspicion that the Two-Faced Rock is up this hill. I don't see it, there's no sign, there's no indication, but I just kind of feel that that's where it is on the map. No, I don't think so. Finding this two-faced stone had become an obsession. I decided to ask at the temple next door. Sumimasen. Kao futatsu no ishi wa
この中ですね。
中ですか?
はい。この今こちらにおられて、本堂の横にね、二面石
あ、はい、はい。
ございます。はい。
はい、じゃあ入ります。
はい。400円でございます。
Okay, well, it turns out the two-faced stone, or Nimenseki, is here in Tachibana-dera Temple. The Nimenseki, two-faced stone, over here. Here's what it is. An ancient stone, two-faced stone, which is said to represent human nature of good and evil. There it is. So which one are you? The answer is both. And here in the main hall, there is an image of Prince Shotoku himself. The main hall was, once again, incredible inside, but once again...
撮影は
これはダメ? ダメ. Same thing as always. The inside was actually amazing. Lots of amazing stuff. All kinds of Buddhist stuff hanging. There's a great statue of Mr. Shotoku himself holding the incense burner to help pray for his sick father, who was the emperor. And as soon as I walked in, the guy came over and said, "No pictures." In another building, pictures were allowed, so you can get a sense of the treasures inside. Right on. All right, that was a great visit to the temple. Now, a couple things I've learned. This is Tachibana-dera, Tachibana Temple, and it's actually known as the birthplace of Prince Shotoku. So this guy I keep talking about, who did all these wonderful things, that was his birthplace. Like, the horse was his horse. For now, it's lunchtime. I need to find some lunch because I got a couple things to do that ChatGPT told me to do this afternoon. Specific things to see in this village, and then we got to go to another place. Is there anywhere around here that serves any kind of food? Well, I thought I was going to find nowhere around here for lunch, but suddenly, just right on the side of the road, there was this little coffee shop, cafe, restaurant thing called Sampo. Sampo means like strolling around aimlessly, just sort of having a fun walk. There's a sign out front that said Hainanese chicken. I asked why here are they serving Hainan food? And she said the chefs or something, the couple that runs it are Malaysian. Came with coffee, and they let me choose what kind of coffee, and I chose Tanzanian coffee. And now we're heading to two things that ChatGPT has told me specifically to do this afternoon. The first is Asuka-dera, Asuka Temple, and the next is Ishibutai, which is a big rock tomb. I don't know why it singled these two things out, because it's all Asuka village, but it says it's going to cost me 500 yen, and I've got a couple hours to do these things in. I'm a little bit lost. I don't think it's here in the middle of the rice fields. I think I took a wrong turn. But it doesn't really matter. It's not really raining, and look at the mountains there. All right, found it. Asuka-dera. This is the oldest Buddhist temple in Japan, Asuka-dera. It was made in the early part of the 7th century by a guy called Soga no Umako. And remember the name Soga no Umako, because the next thing we're going to go see is directly related to him too. The original one burned down in the year 1196. But the coolest thing about this one, for me, this temple has the oldest bronze Buddha statue in Japan. So this Daibutsu was made in the year 606. And when the fire came and destroyed everything, part of it melted. Scholars are sort of arguing about which parts of this are actually original. What is thought by some is that the eyes and the top of the head are originals. Also, the 3 middle fingers on the right hand, his right hand, seem to date from 606. So they're either their originals or they came from some other statue that was made at the same time and now are here on this one. Now this temple itself, this is from the Edo era, so maybe 300 years old or so. The oldest Buddha statue in Japan, and it's right here. And she specifically told me when I came in, pictures are okay. I didn't ask, but she just told me. She could see it in my eyes. This guy's a YouTuber. And over on the side, here he is. A statue of Shotoku that I'm allowed to show you. So I just asked the staff, and they were telling me that this is Shotoku when his father, the emperor, was sick. And this is him holding his incense holder and praying to make his father better. It didn't work. The father died, and he became sort of the leader of Japan. Okay, very cool. Here I am on the rice field paths again, just because I think they connect to the other side. And now, one more thing to do in Asuka before we leave, and that is go to the big rock tomb known as Ishibutai, the largest megalith in Japan. Oops. Whew, that was quite a ride uphill in the bike. Okay, we are near at the Ishibai tumulus, which is the burial mound, Ishibutai tumulus. The admission to get into Asuka-dera was 350, and ChatGPT said both of these together was going to be 500, so it can't cost more than 150 here, or else I'm going to have to blame ChatGPT again for its erroneous admission charges. There it is right there. See the big rock, the big stone thing? That's it. So what this is believed to be is the burial site of Soga no Umako, the guy who built Asuka-dera and was helping Prince Shotoku spread his Buddhism everywhere. There's no English explanation around here, so I'm trying to remember what I researched a few days ago about this. It's still the biggest megalith in Japan, meaning the biggest thing that uses these gigantic stones from somewhere. And it's unusual because there's a little corridor that you can go in, and I think we tourists can actually go in the little corridor and go into it, underneath it, and see what it was. Wow. Japan's largest megalith is over my head right now. If it were to fall, this would be my tomb. All right, well that's it. That's all for Asuka Village, really. I saw the village by bicycle, as ChatGPT told me. I saw Asuka-dera and I saw Ishibutai. It was a total of 650, not 500. But now I'm going to go back to the station and go to the next place. But before I do, I did see a place on the way here that's like a little cafe that sold its own donuts. And I might have to stop in for a donut. It was a nice afternoon break at the Cafe Kotodama. I asked them about the donuts. They said that was for takeout only, and I was already sitting there. So I had coffee and the strawberry chiffon cake with something called Asuka ruby strawberries. And I asked them, they said, yeah, that's the local kind of Nara Prefecture strawberries. So that was pretty great. My train leaves here in about 20 minutes to get to the next place. And if I miss that train, then the next one's like 50 minutes later. So I'm trying to retrace my steps basically to the station. And I hope I can do it in time to catch this train. Woo, it is cold. It has gotten colder and colder since the morning. Every hour, like it drops down 1 degree. I don't think I'm gonna make it. There's the station. I'm waiting for this light to turn green, and it's about 2 minutes to go till my train leaves. I still have to return the bicycle. Rats. I got a bit lost on my manic high-speed bike ride back through Asuka, and I was late. My only hope was that the train too was a couple minutes late, but that's rare, especially out here in the rural parts. Today though, the travel gods, or the ChatGPT gods, were smiling on me. Well, turns out everybody else in the world is getting on the train at the same time. And so it's taking a little bit longer for it. The train is leaving 2 minutes late because school is just let out and every student in the school is on this train, so it had to take a lot longer to get everybody on the train, and I made it. Unbelievably, I made it. In the early 1800s, there was a woman that lived here in this area called Nakayama Miki. After Miki and several members of her family had been sick for a while and nothing was really working to make them better, the family called on a priest to come help and kind of pray for them. So this guy's name was Ichibe, and he came. He told Miki that God was asking her, through him, if she would become a medium for him. And Miki fell into a trance for 3 days. She fell into a trance, and finally her husband said, okay, she'll do it. She accepts the offer. She will be a medium for God. And after that, she snapped out of her trance. She started giving away her possessions and living a very simple life and living a very charitable life. She had a nickname, Oya-sama. At the time she died in 1887, not that long ago, she had 30,000 followers. Today, Tenri-kyo, which is Tenri religion in Japan, has 2 million followers. Most of them, but not all of them, in Japan. And this town right here, and this station now, is the church's headquarters. So here's what I'm supposed to do, according to ChatGPT. Boy, this thing is getting dog-eared. Take a train to Tenri Station, did that. Explore Tenri and its temples. That's all it says, explore Tenri and its temples. What I think I'm gonna do is go see the Tenri Church headquarters down this road. I'm not exactly sure if this is true, but I kind of think of Tenri, the religion, and Tenri, this town, is kind of like the Mormons and Salt Lake City. Like, not everybody in Salt Lake City is a Mormon, but the Mormon church has a lot to say about what happens and what goes on and stuff. Well, as you can see, it's not terribly dissimilar from other Buddhist buildings we've seen on this trip. But this is the headquarters for the Tenri religion, right here. So there are a few people milling around. It's mostly quiet here. As far as I understand it, all this is open to the public, but it is their headquarters, so, be cool. So I'll go where I can. Look at all of these benches. I wonder if they're always out here, or if this is for Oya-sama's birthday. There's a bunch of flags and banners up saying, "Happy birthday, Oya-sama." Okay, well that's it for Tenri, and that is it for this whole trip. Overall, my impressions about this ChatGPT travel itinerary idea, I would give ChatGPT about a 60 or a 65 out of 100. The things that we saw were pretty cool. They're fairly well chosen, although I would like to have seen more variety in it. It's mostly old temples and shrines. And then there were the guest houses and restaurants that didn't actually exist, so that was kind of odd. There's a lot of zigzagging back and forth. The route that it planned was not particularly efficient. Staying in Sakurai was, of course, pointless. Mostly, it was pretty cool. Because of ChatGPT, I saw some things that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. Now, the final thing on the list is go back to Osaka. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to tally everything up and see what it actually cost. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon, and special thanks to John Arne Hansen. As I said, the itinerary itself was pretty fun. Pretty focused on temples and shrines, but then again, that's what Nara is famous for. Honestly, it would probably be better to use ChatGPT's schedule as a list of suggestions and design your own actual plan. The actual total I spent over the 3 days was not 18,000 yen, but 30,535, about $225 at the time. All in all, ChatGPT's budget wasn't too far off, if you ignore the extras that couldn't be foreseen, like the boat rental. Plus, to be fair, the AI's guest house prices were probably a lot more accurate for 2021, which is when this version of ChatGPT's training stopped, and when COVID had decimated tourism. But I'm glad I forced myself to do it this way. It added an extra layer of mystery and adventure to the whole Nara trip. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure.